Aditi, when people see you, I think the first thing they're struck by is just how stunning you are, right? So while you're celebrated for everything that people can see, you're also celebrated for your craft as an actor. But do you feel, has that ever limited, helped, or perhaps, taken away some opportunities because just how stunning you are? Has that happened?
Wow, we're starting with a real rocket of a question. Okay, so the thing is, I I believe that who you are and how you look is just what is. That's just fact. It just is there, and I don't see that as a burden. I don't see that as a burden, and I don't want to see that as a burden. And if people put that burden upon you, I don't want the self consciousness of it. I want to. I think like I think who you are visually or what you represent when you walk into a room is much more than the is much more than what you look. I think it's about who you are, what you bring to the table, what you make people feel, how much you love what you do, what is the intention, that you hold within you when you come onto a set or you come like this in front of people. I think it's so much more and is not just about how you look. That's how I perceive it. But if other people perceive it like that, then that is their prerogative, and I cannot control that. But I never like to see it as something that bogs me down or holds me down, because it isn't. It's something actually to be celebrated.
Absolutely, and
If
you
people
are.
like the way that you look or enjoy your talent or like the way that you sing or dance, it should never be a burden. It should be something that is celebrated, and nobody should make you feel like that either. So if they are making you feel like that, I'm not listening to them. So it's fine.
I think it's very important to cut that noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's so much more, right? I need to perform, I need to be present, I need to listen to the director, I need to create. And if I'm going to think only about a visual, then that's not going to be of any use to me.
No, I think you are an actor who is celebrated for your craft as well. But
I hope so.
no,
I
you
mean,
are. Otherwise, the work that we've seen you do and the stuff that we've seen you do on screen wouldn't have happened, right? Looks can only take us that far. Craft has to be. Then you have it. That's why you're here. Yes.
yeah, I hope so, but it is a step at a time. But that's because of a lot of other reasons as well. So I do feel that for me, it's been a step forward every time, but it's been an uphill step forward, because it's also because I demand the best of myself. And I really, really push myself. I tend to be quite hard on myself. I'm not sort of content with just like I cannot be content with a basic. I need to push beyond that. And I do it because I love to do it, and I do it because the people that I work with also demand that of me, and I really, really am grateful for that. And if people receive it, then that's great, but I want them to also receive it with effortlessness, because again, I don't want the burden of I am performing. I don't want performance to be performative. I want it to have an effortlessness, and I want it to reach people's hearts. And it's a thing of people taking you home with them. Sometimes you can't put a finger on it. What is it that makes a person reside in somebody's heart? And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it being like a mystery, almost. Yeah.
You spoke about, I still want to do work that excites me, and what is it? I would love to know, and I'm sure people in this room would love to know. Having worked across mediums, having worked across languages, right? What is something that still excites Aditi when she has to go on a set? What kind of a role still excites you?
What kind of role? More than what kind of roles, I think it's the makers, the directors. I've always said this. I am a director's baby, and I enjoy the process of going on an adventure with a director who really pushes me and demands the best of me. And till that is not, I mean, if that is not happening, then I feel almost like I feel like withdrawal symptoms, or honestly, So I want to be pushed. I want to be put into a place where, like, I want to be sent into, like, almost like, a little child going into a dark room where they don't know what's going to happen. I like that feeling. I like the butterflies. I like the slight, that, not even butterflies, actually, the elephant stomping in my stomach. I like that fear, but it's a good fear. It's a fear that's coming out of, the adventure of the unknown, and I enjoy that. And that's what I keep seeking. And of course, I mean, it's I don't even want to say that, yes, it's the content that is king and that matters, and what you are doing in that story matters, etc., etc. But I feel that again stems from the creative people, the director, the producer, the whole team. And the director usually is the captain of that ship, the creative ship. So yeah, that's what I keep seeking every
So,
time.
which is that last project that made you feel elephants were stomping in your
Oh
stomach?
my God. I did, I think I can talk about it. Yeah, I did a show with Imtiaz Ali, and that was frightening.
Tell us, please. Tell us more.
I can't. Oh, it was really frightening. It was really the unknown. For me, though, it was 100% the unknown, but it was also very exciting because it was just material that was so juicy. There was material that really sent you on a trip. And it was like a real up and down trip, which can be very daunting, but is also very, very exciting. Yeah.
Aditi, when we look at your fan base, of course, there are people who kind of relate with you, not just because of the work that they see you do on screen, but I think it also has a lot to do with the persona that you portray on social media, right? Success today has become as much about performance as it has about perception. But knowing you well enough, having interviewed you a million times, I know you're someone who doesn't work towards building a perception. You are very true to who you are. But how challenging is it then to kind of stay true to who you are in this world full of noise and perception building?
Honestly, like, I find, like, for me, it's very comfortable being myself. And I'm happy being myself. And I don't know any other way to be. But I do feel there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of pressure to be performative, there's a lot of pressure to create perceptions, that are larger than yourself. But I like to be rooted. I like to fly because I'm a dreamer. I like to dream. I like to dream big dreams. And I like to achieve those big dreams. But I also like to stay rooted, and I like to stay true to who I am and true to my surroundings. And I think for me that's very, very important. And having said that, I do find it very challenging because I feel like my core is that of a 5 year old, of a curious little 5 year old. And I like to, I like to dream, I like to play, I like to be on an adventure, I like to be, I like to sort of, how do I say this? I like to be childlike. I mean, there's no other better way to say it, And I want to be left to my little dreamland, And as an actor, I think I can ask that of the world, because I feel like suspension of disbelief, which is what we actually do. Like, you need to be able to believe that I can be a girl from Calicut who is mute, but I can also be Bibbo Jan. I can also be Priya from Gilipuchi. I need to be able to be those things. And if I'm constantly being somebody, or even myself on social media, how do I do that suspension of disbelief? How do I make you believe that I can be all those things? Because you may not even know the truth about me, because there's so much noise out there. So you've created your own version of who I am. So be it. I am who I am. That is my truth. And this is actually what I would like to give to you as my expression. And I want you to have that. And I want you to be able to believe that. And for you to be able to believe that, you should actually be able to disconnect from my everyday. That's what I believe. I really wish that as actors we could have that, because I'm not an influencer. I'm an actor. I'm a creative being, and I'm a being who surrenders to the process of creation. So if I'm so aware of myself and who I am and what I want to project, how do I do these things? How do I come in front of my director and surrender? I want to do that. I want to surrender. I want to surrender my ego. I want to surrender who I am. I want to surrender where I come from. I want to surrender everything when I step onto set and I tell and I sort of stand in front of a director and I say, take me on an adventure and take me into the world that you're building. And I'm determined to do that. So actually, my social media is not that hectic. I don't actually share that much. And it's not like I've decided it consciously, but because you're asking me, I'm telling you that I think that's what it is. I really believe this. So that's what I do.
Guys, it is true though. This is not the first time I'm speaking to her. And every time I speak with her, I also told her the last time, I find this innate curiosity. And you are really so childlike. And that innocence is sort of refreshing when I see you every time. There's this absolute warmth that does not, I mean, you said I have to drop my ego. I think you're the last one who has any ego. I don't think you have to work at it at all. So it's really
I
refreshing.
mean, that ego does come creeping in sometimes, if I were to be honest, but I'm so, like, I never want to have it anywhere around me. I think it's such a waste of time. But thank you for saying that.
But it is true, it is true. Other thing, when you look back at all the work that you have done, right, which is that one set that made you kind of reinstate your belief in your career choice and you said, yes, this is where I belong, that made you so excited and the adventures that you speak of?
Um, I've said this multiple times, and that is my truth. So when I was a little girl, I watched a Mani Ratnam film, and I didn't know anything about cinema, and I said, that's what I want to do, and that's what I want to be. I want to be a Mani Ratnam heroine. And I just held that dream, and I didn't really tell anybody about it. And I started like properly working in 2011. I had done a few films before that, but I was just finding my feet. It was more out of curiosity. I was a little confused. I was a little afraid too, possibly because of, it's just what this industry is, etc. And I didn't have any guidance. And then from 2011 to 15, I was finding my feet. I had a lot of people who, nurtured me and, sort of really gave me good opportunities. But I would say that the thing that really changed my life, and like you say, made me believe that dreams come true. And, there's a kind of validation, and almost like for a little child, you get that, okay, this is what I came to do, and now I'm doing it. And so it gives you that literally like a vitamin shot. In 2016, I worked with Mani Sir, which was, like I said, a childhood dream. And I worked on this film called Katravelire, which was a love story, and that was also my dream, to do a love story directed by Mani Ratnam. And I think that really, really changed my life in every way. And also made me believe that dreams come true. Dreams do come true, and you have to keep believing in them and manifesting. And I have to say that time was very special, because straight after that, another dream that I dreamt, which was to be a Sanjay Leela Bhansali heroine, I went straight from Manisa's set onto the set of Padmavat.
Dreams are really truly made of this.
And I remember Ranveer said this to me. He said, "Do you know you're living the dream? You've just walked off Mani Ratnam set and you're on Sanjay Leela Bhansali set." And I was just taking everything in. So that penny hadn't dropped. I was just excited. And when he said that, I was like, "Oh my God, thank you." And I literally I thanked the universe, and I continue to do so, yeah.
Rightly so, you are living your dream, and I hope that you continue to do so.
But it's come with a lot of hard work, and belief, and staying positive. I might say it's easy to do that, but it does take work too, because there's 100 things that can pull you down every day. But I just believe that you can cut out the noise, find the music. You can, through the darkness, find the light, and I practice it. I literally practice it, and I'm determined to practice it.
Before I open the floor for questions from the audience, I do have one very quick question for you. I think the other light in your life apart from work is also, of course, Siddharth. Marrying someone who is from the same profession, does that kind of make it easier for you to navigate this already overwhelming kind of an industry? Do the two of you kind of discuss your creative life, your choices, feedback on scripts, or is it like, let's keep work out of home?
No, we don't have these rules. We don't have any rules actually. I think Siddharth and I also, we have that instant sort of connection. Also because we're both childlike. He is too. He is also like a little boy, always excited, and very very fiercely honest and
As are you.
so true to who he is. I would say even beyond me, because there's something in him that is so determined to be absolutely authentic at all times. There are still times when I would choose, extreme kindness even on a day where I'm feeling like I want to throttle someone. But Siddharth will say it as it is, and I really respect him for that. Kindly, but he will say it. So I think that for me, actually, again, it's been a whole. That's also another. What do I call it? Another human being who's really, really changed my life, and also been very life affirming and choice affirming in every way because of who he is and because of how he lives his life. His life is also driven by like pure intention. He's a cinema boy. He always chooses cinema first. He always puts art before himself, before ego, before his stardom, or before who he is. He will, prioritize the team and the content over his personal gain, and I really admire that about him. And I can keep saying that to myself, but when I see somebody actually doing that and living that, and he's done that for many more years than I have, I find that very inspiring about him. And also, he doesn't do that in a heavy, burdensome kind of way. He does it in a very playful, happy, positive kind of way, and I find again that very inspiring. Also, there's a lot of humor when he's around, so nothing is like hectic. It's always a lot of fun and like mad, and I really really love and enjoy that about him. And he's a real green flag, green forest. Also when it comes to women, and women who work with him, and I've seen it before I started dating Siddharth. I saw how he is with people around him, and how he treats people on set, and how he keeps the set happy, and he's literally like Shah Rukh Khan and DDLJ, and that marriage setup where he's making everybody laugh, making everyone's day, and he actually does that, and it's so lovely to see. And yeah,
I'm so glad you're surrounded by someone so amazing because, and even he's with somebody so amazing. Like
tell
they
him
say,
that, huh?
we can record
Actually, you
this.
don't have to tell him that.
He already knows it. He doesn't need my stamp of approval for sure.
And he says it 24/7, which is another really lovely
Green
thing
forest,
about him.
like
Green
you said.
forest.
Yeah.
He's a green
All right, I'm going to ask audience if they have any questions for her. Can we give her the mic, please?
Hi, ma'am. My name is Kiana. I am from
Kiana?
KC. Yeah,
Hi, Kiana.
I am from KC College. I loved your role in Jubilee. Could you please speak a bit on that? Because that was a role which had several grey shades, and even the darker side of it had its reasons and the ambition. All of those things were really essential in that role. So, what was your experience on that set?
Actually, it was really phenomenal. I love Vikram Aditya Motwani. Like I said, it's always the director that that's my first dream. And the part in itself, like, because it's also, that's the center of the plot of Jubilee, is this girl. And actually, you mentioned her ambition, which is again incredible for that time, where a girl leads films, a girl leads a production house, and a girl is making these decisions. She's powerful, she's looked at as powerful, she's the one who's getting the, I mean, today we say female oriented film, we don't say hero oriented film, we don't like, so we say female oriented film because we are trying to sort of push that narrative. And I find that so incredible because so many years ago it sort of, this girl was the one who was it was because of her that projects were being greenlit. So that in itself I found interesting, that she came from that place of power. But what I think what really drew me into Jubilee and Sumitra Kumari is the fact that her inner core stems from love and stems from being, a child actually, who is yearning for love, and she doesn't have it. Also because you're tucked away, you're sort of put on a pedestal and you're in that castle and you're locked away in that castle, and you don't actually feel real things and you crave them, because you've been doing it from the time you're so young. And then when you see another person who's living like, and I found that so interesting because it was just that one scene or two scenes, with this boy who she falls in love with, and that line is so incredible. What does success mean? To be able to do the things and to choose what you want to do at that the right time and place, and that is power and that is success. And I really understand, like, it really resonates, it makes so much sense, and everything stems from that love, and I found that very incredible. And the gray shades also, to be able to see that childlike core of a person while they're going through, she's human, so she feels human things, whether it's envy or rage or revenge or all of that, but you still see that very, very pure core that is filled with love and yearning for love. So I found that very interesting because there's so much happening at the same time. A broken girl, but who stems from a sense of, like yearning for that purity. Yeah.
It was a very, very layered character. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really layered and quite exciting to play. Yeah.
We have time for one more question.
Hi, ma'am. My name is Veer. I am an aspiring filmmaker,
Hi, Veer.
and I'm like a big fan of your work.
Thank you.
So, my question is that how was your experience working with Sanjay Leela Bhansali sir? You have worked with him twice. How was it playing like a character like Bibbo Jan in Hira Mandi? What was your experience playing that character?
Again, Sanjay sir was part of my growing up dream. It was Mani Ratnam, Sanjay Leela Bhansali, and Rituparno Ghosh. Rituparno Ghosh, of course, that can never happen. But Mani sir and Sanjay Leela Bhansali, to be able to work with them has been exquisite, and I hope I continue to get those opportunities. Just putting it out there in the universe. But I really love Sanjay sir. I love him, and it's not coming from an actor who's seeing a very successful director or who has seen a director who has made very successful films, or it's coming from just who he is and where he puts his art. He puts his art above everything else. And I find that incredible because here is a person with so much experience, but he's just driven by he's just driven by excellence. And he will not even allow you to do anything less than what is your potential. And it's literally like he will not allow it because he almost feels like it's criminal to do that, and I love that about him. It's just so incredible to work with somebody like that who pushes you. It is a huge challenge. It's very, very challenging, but it is also very exciting, and there's also a lot of love that he gives you, and I find that really incredible, and I felt it and I've seen it. And that's why I say I really love him. I love him for who he is and what he gives to us, or what he has given to me as an actor. Even before Bibbo Jan, when I walked onto set during Padmavat, I was far fresher, far newer, but it's absolutely the same. It like his commitment is 10,000 times infinity. I don't even know how to say that, and it's really, really incredible what he does. And I would say, like with Bibbo Jan especially, like I think it takes a person like that who views women in that way, where women are not defined by the work that they do or defined by any kind of judgment call or what. They are in his eyes, women are queens. They rule. They feel. they are fearless, and I think he's one of those few people who also sees their vulnerability as, you know, a very very beautiful quality, and he doesn't see all these qualities as mutually exclusive. And so as Bibbojan, I got that arc, you know, of this really good, kind, sweet girl. I mean, there's no other way to put it. She's just such a kind, such a lovely soul, but so fearless. So I mean, she sacrifices her life. I mean, that's the most fearless thing anybody can do, knowing what's going to happen to them, to go through everything that you go through, and to do it with complete intention. And you know, and to create a character like that itself requires a very 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 expansive, evolved human being, you know, who sees women in that way and who sees the journey of a woman like that. So I really love him, and I'm so grateful that I got to be his Bibbojan. Yeah, and that Bibbojan resonated with everybody.
All right, guys, thank you so much for your questions. I know we have many more, but there's not enough time. Thank you, Aditi. I really hope your dreams continue to come true.
I hope so. Pray for me, okay?
We will.